Good afternoon and good morning, depending on where you live. The third period has came to a close, so I have once again added the points to all of the games. As you can see here, there's been a couple of changes in the leaderboards. Roblox is now the only game with a perfect record of all 36 available points at the end of the first quarter of the season as well. That doesn't mean it's over yet. There are still 9 periods to go before this season ends. But I have a lot to talk about because there's now going to be a traditional week added on to the schedule as a form of playoff. Not because I originally wanted to expand the amount of streams I do for the season, but simply because I feel like relegating 4, I need to give games second to fourth a chance to stay up, but they will also still have a chance to go down depending on what happens. So those places will now officially play up against the second to fourth members of the GA Cup, meaning the place, if they get second, third, or fourth in the GA Cup, they will have to 1v1 against second, third, or fourth in League 2 to see if they can move in. The reason why I made this change is because there's a lot of good Roblox teams that can potentially win over some of these other games. But I don't feel like having all of them go down at the same time is reasonable. So now there's a chance that won't happen. It just depends on who you guys vote for. Now, again, so the few changes that have happened in the leaderboards is that in the Premier League, Minecraft Survival is no longer in last, which means somebody else now carries the relegation arrow, and that right now belongs to Fortnite. So if they stay there for the rest of the season, they will be dropping down to the Championship League and becoming a 150-minute day stream next season. Now, in the Championship League, the leaderboards look about the same. However, Asphalt did win the Championship League for the third period, so they are catching up. They're now down by just 6 points over Blox Fruits. But ultimately, Blox Fruits still has a tight hold on that promotion spot to the Premier League. Now, another thing, the Strongest Battlegrounds has escaped the bottom 2, which means somebody else has to join in. And that game is Deathball. And Valorant is still scoreless. They're the only game in this schedule that has not scored a single point now, which is quite crazy because you're a Championship League game. At least compete, man. Moving down to League 1, Destiny 2 has been knocked out of the promotion zone by Hypercarts, which means if Hypercarts remains there for the rest of the season, they will be moving up to the Championship League next season. So the race is getting tighter. And with the unprecedented viewer swarm on our Starlit Cart stream, Starlit Cart now has 15 points and escaped the relegation spot as well, putting Halo Infinite multiplayer in that spot instead. As Starlit Cart is just definitely blew up last time when we played it. I'm not sure why, but it did. And then you finally got League 2, which, again, the reason why there's no longer 4 down arrows is because it's no longer confirmed that we'll have all 4 relegated. It is possible to have all 4 relegated, but the minimum is 1. So as of right now, let me show you an example. In first place is Shrimp Game. They would move up to League 2 because they're in first. Evade is in second, which means in order for them to stay up, they would have to win a 1v1 against the game that gets fourth place in the GA Cup. If they win, then they will remain in the league and the GA Cup member will not come up. If they lose, then Evade will be relegated out of the schedule and replaced by the GA Cup member. Karting League is in third, which means they would go up against the game that got third in the GA Cup. Which would mean that, and again, same scenario. If Karting League wins, they stay up in they stay up in League 2. If they lose, they will get relegated and be eliminated from the schedule. And in fourth is Starlit Adventures. If they finish in fourth, they will go up against the game that gets second place in the GA Cup. And then basically the same thing goes through. They win, they stay up. They lose, they get relegated. Now in fifth is the finals, but there's no poll for that. If you get first in the GA Cup, you don't have to 1v1 number 5. You're automatically promoted from the GA Cup if you win the GA Cup. And if you get fifth in League 2, you're automatically relegated. There's no saving you if you're in fifth. So there is still at least one relegation per season in this league, per minimum. Maximum is 4, which could happen considering our lineup is pretty weird. But I'm going to guess there's going to be 3 going down. Because I still think Evade might stay up. But it all depends on who wins the GA Cup. We don't know. It's super far from now. And the polls for that will actually occur after the 12th period during this new playoff week. Which is also why, if you look at the power rankings, you'll start to notice that there's a letter right next to those numbers. If you get last place in a period out of all remaining games that have not received the letter E yet, or the letter X, that means they're eliminated from playoff contention. For example, in the first period, the finals got last, so they're now eliminated from playoff contention. In the second, Starlit Kart got last. Even though they're fourth right now in the power rankings, which should never happen, to be honest with you, they're still eliminated because of their abysmal performance in the second period. And in the and last night, Halo Infinite went down too, as they are now eliminated. So there are now 17 games competing for a playoff spot. Each period, we will eliminate 1 game from playoff contention to play in this 11th week. Also, in the 11th week, you get extended live streams, like super long live streams. So that's why you want to go to the playoffs. And if you win in your playoff matches, you'll get an traditional super long stream. With the championship determining the winner of the league. Now, starting in the 5th period, games will also clinch the playoffs. Which means if they have not received an E and get first in each period, or the highest ranking member that hasn't received a letter, they would receive the letter X, which stands for the playoffs. Now, depending on how high in the power rankings you finish at the end of the 12th period, will determine who will be playing against who in the playoffs. But other than that, that is basically a breakdown on how the season playoffs works. As you can see down here, I've updated the relegation and promotion rules for both League 2 and the GA Cup. It's in League 2, it's 1 guaranteed promotion, 3 goes to the relegation playoffs, and 1 gets relegated. And GA Cup, 1 promoted, and 3 goes to the promotion playoffs. Which does bring more electrification to winning the GA Cup, because you don't have to play that playoff match to actually go up. So, yeah, good luck in that. And now we go to the Blue Tea Season 6 schedule. Here is the 4th period schedule. Our first live stream is actually going to be getting at 10:30 a.m. It's 10 a.m. right now, so it's about 30 minutes from now. I have made a couple of changes to the schedule due to things that have been happening at work with me staying a lot later than normal, despite it being May. So, for the time being, day streams will now start at 10:30 a.m. instead of 9:30 a.m. That's why you guys didn't see me go live yet, because it's just the fact that I need sleep. I can't just not sleep, but I also can't just randomly cancel live streams. So now my live streams are at the latest it could possibly be. I cannot push it any farther than 10:30, otherwise I will interfere with work. So 10:30 to 4 p.m. is both of our day streams combined. And our night streams now start at 11 p.m. because we keep getting off at work at 9:30 and we arrive home by like 10 or something like that. And we're like, oh, we're 10 minutes late for our live stream. Yeah, not anymore, because I've rescheduled them all to 11. This schedule change should probably help Blue Tea, actually, because it's probably easier for him to be awake during this time than it is at 10, considering he's a night owl. But, the night stream period will end at 2:30 in the morning as well. So yeah. Now back into the power rankings. Asphalt Legends is now number 1 after their crazy performance during the third period. Sadly, it's not the fifth period, because if it was, they would have made the playoffs. But there's still a chance. They've never been out of the bottom. They've never been out of the top 8 in the entire season. So the most likely game to be eliminated from playoff contention this period, I'm just going to make a prediction, is going to be Starlit Adventures. I don't think they're going to make it very far in this season. Valorant is surprisingly 4th to last right now. Like, a lot of the games that you'd think would be great are actually doing terrible. Valorant has an advantage because they're a championship league stream, which means they get 2.5 hours. And they sit here and pull this off. They're in 7th, so they deserve 17th in the power rankings. While meanwhile, the top 8 that isn't eliminated, obviously, because we're not counting Starlit Cart. We got Asphalt Legends Unite, Roblox, Minecraft Survival, Bed Wars, Shrimp Game, Fish, Blocks Fruits, and even Fortnite. So all 5 of the Premier League games are in the top 8. However, one of them still has to go down even if it does make the playoffs. If your game makes the playoffs, it could still be relegated. If you miss the playoffs, you could still get promoted. These are 2 separate things. They will not collide with each other. So just because you make the playoffs doesn't mean you're safe from relegation. You will still go down. And this is big news, especially for Fortnite fans, because I don't want them thinking that if they make the playoffs, they stay in the league. No, that's not how that works. The playoffs is only here because I need polls. I need time to add some polls to determine the GA Cup winners and losers and stuff like that. So this 11th week will start on, let me find it. It will start on Wednesday, July 9th. It will go from the 9th to the 15th. This is the only week where live streams on Sunday are applicable. Other times it's not. Because the reason why we have to do that is because there's 3 rounds to the playoffs. Because there's 8 games going to the playoffs. You got round 1 with all 8 games. 4 of them go to round 2. And then finally the season championship at the end. That's why we need all 7 days to do this. Now, depending on your seed will also determine if you're going to be a day stream or a night stream during the playoffs. And we will be using we will not be using the reseeding formation, which if for those of you who are familiar with the NFL, if a game wins and loses in the NFL playoffs, they always get reseeded at the end of every round. For example, if a 1 seed wins against a 7 seed, or I guess that, or if a 1 seed, let's just make a better example. A 2 seed beats a 6 seed, but a 3 seed, a 4 seed loses to a 7. The 7 seed would go to the 1 seed. And you get the point. No, we're not going to be using reseeding. Instead, we're just going to do it normal bracket style, meaning 1 versus 8. If 8 wins, they won't just go to the number 2 seed in the next round. They will go to whoever's next in the bracket, which would either be the 4 or 5 seed. Because we're doing it traditionally. We're not doing this American NFL thing. I know I'm an American saying that, but we're not doing that. The NFL's the only league, and that's not even an American thing either. The NFL's the only league in this country that does that. Baseball doesn't do it. Hockey doesn't do it. Association football doesn't do it. And basketball don't do it. They don't do it because it's stupid to do it, to be honest with you. But at least the games are still good. So yeah, that is going to be it for the third period recap. I'll see you guys in the fourth.